In this video, we'll talk about is the formula quantity c plus d, is that quantity squared equal to c squared plus d squared? Is that formula true or false? Explain why. So you need to become familiar with whether formulas are true or false. So we do focus on the true formulas in class, and basically all the other formulas you see, if they're unfamiliar, they're false. And you do have to be very careful to pay attention to things like, is there a plus sign or a times sign? Here we have plus signs right there, and these sorts of things are going to matter and are things to be careful of. This particular formula does happen to be false, so in answering this question, we'll write that down first. Again, you do need to become familiar with whether a formula is true or false. And it turns out to be the case that just trying to memorize lists of true or false alone, people do get confused, and that's why it's important to go to that next step and expect students to talk about really exactly why a formula is true or false. Now, the way to approach showing a formula is true or explaining why a formula is false, these are rather different. Okay. For a false formula, basically the steps should be this. So we should pick a value for each variable. And then simplify the left side, simplify the right side, simplify each side using the order of operations. And the key thing is do not use the formula in question. So right now, we're saying, yeah, this formula should be false, but you shouldn't use the formula itself, this thing which we are perhaps doubting, in order to show that a formula is true or false. Okay, that would be some form of circular logic. And then once you simplified each side, you should basically present the information that the simplified values are different. Okay, that's the basic step that's involved. And you can pick just about any numbers you want. Most of the time it's going to work out. So if, for instance, I pick c is equal to 3, and in this example, I'll pick d is equal to 5, then the left side, I can copy that from right over here. That is c plus d quantity squared. I'm just going to rewrite this. Except I haven't written the c or d yet. I'm going to replace the c right here with a 3, and I'm going to replace the d that is right here, should be right there, with a 5. And so I should simplify this using the order of operations. Let me take a step back and do something that I'm not supposed to do. So I'm not supposed to use the formula in question. The formula in question, it makes it look like the square here, this exponent, is being distributed to the c and to the d here. And so if I did the thing of doing what it appears like this formula is doing, I'd end up writing 3 squared plus 5 squared. And this is the very thing that I should not be doing at all. So do not use the formula in question. Instead of doing that, you should simplify using the order of operations. So here, the 3 plus 5 is in parentheses, and so I'll get 8 for that, and I'll have 8 squared, which simplifies to 64. The right side, so that's right here, right? So that is c squared plus d squared. So I'll plug in, let me write in the squareds here and then the plus sign. So I wrote what's here, except I didn't write the c or the d. So there's a c missing right here and a d missing right there. I'm going to replace the c with still the same thing. I should use the same replacement, so I'll have a 3 instead of a c. And there's that plus sign, then there's a square, so all that's missing now is a d. Instead of writing in a d here, I'm going to put a 5 there instead. So I'll have 3 squared plus 5 squared. I should simplify the exponents first. So I'll have 9 plus 25, which is equal to 34. Then the last step, step 3, is really just to say that these numbers are different. Okay, these are not the same. These are not equal. And you're basically done here. And the point of this is to say, look, if this formula right here doesn't give you the same value on the left side and the right side, we're getting a value of 64 and a value of 34 for just the numbers 3 and 5, then why should this formula be true plugging in any other numbers or any other variables or anything like that? So this formula, if it doesn't work once, it just doesn't work. So this formula is in fact, it is false.